Oh, CERN, CERN, CERN. What have our buddies over at CERN been up to lately? You know, the best approach to looking into this, I think, would be to consider all the departments of CERN and their functions. When CERN is mentioned, most people think of the Large Hadron Collider. They think of the statue of Shiva, tiny black holes, portals, demons, antimatter, dark matter. They think of that model where the particles smash into each other and explode. But how much do we really know about CERN? I think if you have an interest in this stuff, it is important to have a deeper understanding of what they are truly doing at CERN. So I'm going to get a bit technical in this presentation as I take you on a brief tour of the CERN lab, because I want you all to understand how this machine works instead of us just speculating. Let's enhance our resolution of this project so that we can see things with better clarity, and how in spite of all their failures and hang-ups, they are getting just a little bit closer. The question is, what are they getting closer to? Now, I'm no scientist, and I am sure the majority of you are not particle physicists, but when something is explained to us, we at least have some familiarity of the thing the next time around. So, this community at CERN is quite large. They have a lot of equipment, detectors, magnets, chambers, computers, and when a scientist at CERN discusses these things, they may use terminology that you may have never heard of before, but they may use the same terms repeatedly, and that is what you investigate. So let me try and break this all down for you the shortest, best way I can. Think of this as a virtual tour. Stay with me because there is an end point to the road I am about to take you down. Geneva, the second largest city in Switzerland next to Zurich. It is considered to be a global city, as it is the headquarters of several international organizations such as the Red Cross and UN. And in Geneva, on the French and Swiss border, is located the largest particle accelerator facility in the world, the European Center for Nuclear Research, CERN. Now, there is an old town called St. Genus-Poli, in which a large part of CERN is located, such as the ALICE experiment or detector. Experiment is just another word for detector. And ALICE is located at the edge of the town, along with the ATLAS experiment located another 3 kilometers away, which is also the main entrance into the CERN campus. Some people believe that this place was once home to the Temple of Apollo, the Titan god of the sun, the ruiner of worlds, the father of destruction, the god of death and pestilence, and the god of music and poetry and crops and herbs and medicine. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Jekyll and Hyde of gods. Now, whether there was a Temple of Apollo or not, does not change the fact that to build a facility such as CERN and to build such a machine, location is key. Think about this for a moment, folks. If you are a scientist and you want to build a particle accelerator that had the potential to tap into other dimensions, I don't think you could just build that anywhere. I would assume that you would want to pick a location that is geographically sound, that is energetically appropriate for such delicate, sensitive experiments. We do not know if this place was built with the god Apollo in consideration. We do know, however, that Shiva and Apollo are both gods of destruction. And if St. Genus-Poli has anything to do with the god Apollo, which is possible as there are several of these temples. I'm sure they are well aware of it. Now, one of the first things to understand about CERN is that it is quite large indeed. There are about 700 buildings, 274 barracks, 325 underground facilities, 160 service areas, and 59 kilometers of tunnels, not to mention all the roads, parking lots, and grass. This is all divided into 16 fenced sites. Far south of the campus, between St. Genus Poly and Marin, is the main site, the Marin site, where there are many points of interest for visitors and employees. There is a tram stop, bus stop, helipad, restaurants, a bank, a post office, rooming accommodations, a library, a fitness trail, football field, rugby field, cricket and softball field, a picnic area, and a model aircraft runway. There is a computer center, a tech and safety training center. There's the globe we are all familiar with, along with the main entrance and reception. This place is also interactive as they have numerous educational and training programs, summer schools, all available to students interested in particle physics and the universe, as well as teacher programs, which change from time to time. Sometimes there are lectures, sometimes it's computing, sometimes it's open lab. They also host regular internships and school competitions. I guess they're all throwing up what? The CERN sign? They even have an online learning environment for kids called CERNland, which is quite interesting to say the least. And what is that thing? Yeah. Okay, well, CERN employs about 2,500 people, and it is used by around 11,000 scientists from all over the world. So this is a get the best minds we can find around the world effort, with all things considered. Now hold on tight as we take a look at CERN's main experiments. AEGIS is the experiment where they take antiprotons from the antiproton decelerator to make an antihydrogen beam. With this, they can measure the Earth's gravitational force on antihydrogen. There is the ALICE detector that detects quark-gluon plasma, which is what some believe to be formed right after the Big Bang. This is one of the detectors that is located on the Large Hadron Collider ring. The ALPHA experiment is set up to compare hydrogen atoms to antihydrogen atoms. Now, the AMS detector is a bit different than the other detectors, as it is a cosmic ray detector, which is mounted on the International Space Station. This thing is the atomic spectroscopy and collisions using slow antiprotons, or ASAKUSA. It is a machine to help their team to study the interactions between matter and antimatter. They use antiprotons and hydrogen to make a hybrid atom called antiprotonic helium, by taking out an electron from hydrogen and then replacing it with an antiproton. And yes, they can do that. So, the ATLAS experiment is one of CERN's general purpose detectors on the LHC. What's interesting here is that CERN states, and I quote, "It investigates a wide range of physics, from the search for the Higgs boson to extra dimensions and particles that could make up dark matter." Now, when you look deeper at the description of extra dimensions, you find that they are indeed looking to reveal extra dimensions. They want to be able to detect them by finding particles that can only exist in an extra dimension, such as heavy particles, which are the same as regular particles but with greater mass. They can study the behavior of gravitons to see if they are escaping into other dimensions by looking at missing energy. And they can look for these dimensions by using tiny black holes as well. Moving on, if you would all follow me this way. Over here we have the A-trap, which is simply an antihydrogen trap, a cooling system designed to keep antihydrogen around long enough so that it can be studied. This here is the Advanced Wakefield Experiment, otherwise known as AWAKE. This is an accelerator, and what they do here is they take protons and then run them through plasma cells. This creates what are called Wakefield waves. And what these waves do is they give particles like electrons a turbo boost as they are carried along the waves like a surfer on the waves of water. There is BASE, the baryon-antibaryon symmetry experiment, which is a series of antiproton traps, which allows them to trap antiprotons using magnets for months at a time. I call it the antiproton prison. They have CAST, the CERN Axion Solar Telescope, CLOUD, which is the Cosmics Leaving Outdoor Droplets experiment, which they use to study the effects of cosmic rays on cloud formations. I'm sure most of you are familiar with this bad boy, the CMS detector, the compact muon solenoid, which is basically a huge electromagnet with a detector wrapped around it, while it serves the same functions as ATLAS, but with an innovative design. The common muon and proton apparatus for structure and spectroscopy, or COMPASS, is another multi-purpose experiment, which focuses in on the study of quarks and gluons, and how they form particles we can observe. The Dyson relativistic atom complex, or DIRAC, is an experiment to study the strong force. You know, scientists must have a lot of fun coming up with names for these things. The strong force. ISOL is a radioactive ion beam lab for the study of nuclear and atomic physics. This right here is part of the LHC-B, which is a series of detectors set up in the path of collision particles to see if they can detect what's called the beauty quark, or a B quark. I mean, come on, beauty quark? Are they just making stuff up at this point? They also have an LHCF, or the Large Hadron Collider Forward, which is a cosmic ray simulator. You know, the more I go through these experiments, the more I realize that these guys don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, they know what they're doing, but don't really know what they're dealing with. Get this, there is another experiment called MODEL, the monopole and exotics detector at the LHC. Now, how many of you know what a monopole is? Well, they don't know either, but they're looking for it. A hypothetical particle with a magnetic charge, they call it. By the way, a hadron, in case you were wondering, is a particle that keeps the atomic structure together by keeping quarks bound. And the Na61 SHINE experiment is the study of these particles and collision of beam particles. There is the Na62, the study of the kaon, and Na63, the study of radiation and electromagnetic fields. The NTOF is a neutron time of flight facility where they make neutron pulse beams. Now OSCAR, God, these names, is set up for the study of dark matter and the axion, another hypothetical particle. I know what you're thinking. What's behind that door, right? TOTEM is a series of detectors strung along the LHC near the CMS detector, which includes 4 particle telescopes. They use this to detect protons coming out at specific angles during collisions. And you have the UA9 experiment set up to study crystals and their ability to steer particle beams. Now, the reason I have taken you through CERN's experiments is so that you can paint a better picture of what is going on there. The collision test, the particle manipulation test, controlling the speed of particles, tearing them apart and putting them back together again to make new particles, trapping particles, magnets, extra dimensions, and tiny black holes. You tell me what they're doing. Look, they know that portals or gaps open and close around the outside of our planet all the time. They have a good idea of how that works. And CERN seems to be a simulation of that. If anyone were trying to build a Stargate, it would be at this place. And the strange thing is, they know that there is a force that is causing them to fail time and time again. And they are aware of this, folks, and they can't explain it. Not to mention that if you consider the idea of superposition, every time you blow up a particle, you're probably blowing up some other particle on the other side of the galaxy at the same time. I have to say, the sophistication of the machinery used in these experiments, who comes up with this stuff? I mean, look at this thing. How do you put that together? What kind of a genius mad scientist can even conceive of some of these experiments? I can tell you, CERN sure does love cylinders. A bunch of circle lovers. Hey, I got an idea. Is it cylinder shape? No. Sorry. I can hear them now. Well, today we are going to use this Frankenstein-like machine here to smash invisible make-believe particles together so that we can, one day, open portals to visit our anti-selves, where they have an anti-government with an anti-Christ. I tell you, they keep messing around and that's exactly what they might get. And maybe along with something else. Now, if CERN was actually doing this to come up with a better, safer, more efficient energy system than even nuclear power, if they were actually doing this in the benefit of mankind, I might be able to get behind them. But we all know that in the real world, the chances of that are slim to none. They gave us the internet because it only works when the world is connected to it. Otherwise, it would be nothing more than a local access network with limited information. In spite of unseen forces, it does seem that CERN is working towards achieving whatever the ultimate goal is here. They have reached several milestones in spite of their failures, and they are consistently creating higher outputs of power. Which brings me to the Future Circle Collider, or FCC. An 80 to 100 kilometer particle accelerator in the works, which will be the successor of the LHC. Who knows, folks? They may not stop until they wrap the whole world up in one big particle accelerator. Because, why not? You know, if the scientists at CERN are being met with an unseen sabotaging force, that may be an indicator that what they are doing is not very healthy. You never know. Maybe this was meant to happen. You know, I have compassion for people, for the people at CERN. I have no doubt that in their midst is an evil force of influence. And I find that what they are doing to be quite unnerving, to say the least. It is something that I would rather watch from a distance, if you know what I mean. We shouldn't blame our scientists, and they are our scientists, for being excited about new discoveries, but we can hold them accountable and gain a better understanding of this technology to help ensure we don't go beyond our understanding. Curiosity mixed with technology and negligence is an extreme thing. They are not hiding what they are trying to do because they are looking. They are searching for someone to come forward and show them how it's done. That is what they're waiting for, and trust me, when they present to you the new super genius who figures all this stuff out and gets all this stuff to work right, you'll know. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven onto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the reason of the smoke of the pit.